Welcome aboard. So it's a good Sunday, September 20th, 2020 right now. And I definitely want to do two quick boat updates that I currently have. And I need YouTube's help right now. I need your help if you can, if you have experience with a Mercruiser 6.2 liter engine or any Mercruiser engine that's fuel injected, on what the problem might be. We had a great weekend on the boat on Friday. We took it out, but I had a serious problem with it intermittently. At idle, the port engine runs perfect. So twin engines on my Carver Mariner 350, and what was happening is intermittently we would be going from idle to, let's say I'm trying to get to 2200 RPM to go about 10-12 knots, and then the RPM gauge would just start fluctuating. There'd be not really any power on the port engine, just like idle power, not anything above idle. So my diagnostic of it so far, I'm thinking it could be a couple of different issues, and tell me what you guys think. So please comment below, because this problem is not going to be solved for maybe in the next week or 2 weeks, but I definitely want to get anybody's opinion out there in the YouTube world on what this issue might be. So I'm thinking maybe it's a faulty fuel pump, and I have two fuel pumps. I have a boost pump, and then I have a fuel filter, and I got another high pressure pump. And there's a fuel cooling pump system, and then there's a pump next to that. So I ordered two new fuel pumps. I have a new fuel filter coming just to see if there's any water in the fuel line, and then I ordered a throttle position sensor, a TPS sensor, and a idle control valve. But I'm not going to replace the idle control valve because it idles perfectly. So if you have rough idle and stuff like that, you might want to change that. So this is intermittently, it just randomly happens. So it randomly happened 3 times on our trip today. But the weird thing is when we're offshore, when we're coming back in, I decided to run it at full plane at 3,500 RPM with both engines. Ran perfectly. So there's no knocking of the engines. It's running just sweet and perfectly. But 3 times out of the trip, it would bog down when I was trying to get up to 2,000 RPM from idle. So I'm really confused. And what I would do when it would do that is I would put the throttle to idle, take it out of gear, put it back in gear, and then a couple seconds later I would increase the throttle, and it fixed the problem. And then randomly from idle, and I was trying to engine up, it happened. But I have replaced the spark plugs and the coils. Maybe there's an issue with the cap where the ignition coil's on, where the shaft is going into the engine for the ignition timing. But it's not running rough, and it runs perfectly at idle. At 5 knots, I'm running perfectly. It's just a random occurrence. So I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? So tomorrow I'm going to unplug ignition coils. I'm going to check ground, possibly replace the filters, the fuel pumps tomorrow. But if you ever had this issue on your boat, definitely comment below and tell me what your thoughts are on it. The second boat update that I have is it's currently listed for sale, not because there's any problems with it. It's just because it's not the right boat for Megan and I going into the future. And going into the future, I want more of a lighter boat, maybe 10,000 pounds. But I want to go offshore about 40 miles. I want to do a lot of sport fishing. I don't know much about fishing, but I want to do that. Carver Mariner 350s are great boats. It's just what do you want to use it for? So if you want to go out weekend cruising, going slow, 10 knots and getting 1 mile per gallon, Carver Mariner 350s are perfect. But I kind of want a mid-between. Oh, and the Carver Mariner 350 has so much space. Like I used to live on it basically while I was in St. Petersburg and Tampa. For the year when I had that job. So that's one of the reasons why I initially bought the boat. It was kind of a liveaboard for me while I was away from home. so I don't need all that space anymore. It's you can fit 4 people in the shower, huge, nice, almost queen size bed in the cabin, and all that space. So I kind of want only one level lower to the water, and then you, in the middle of the boat where the helm is, go into the boat, and kind of like the Regal layout. But I don't know. I mean, Megan and I have to go out testing boats out into the future. I'm sure there's going to be a boat owner that is going to buy my boat. I showed it, 10 times over the past 2 weeks. Just no one's pulled the trigger. But I have a feeling somebody's going to pull the trigger in the next couple of weeks. There's a lot of demand right now for it. They're just, I mean, it's a big boat. It's a 40-foot boat basically. So it takes a certain person to buy a 40-foot boat and know exactly what they want. So they have to be very careful about, are these my needs? So my quote of the day comes from Mark Twain, and this is a good quote of the day for the use of my boat. So he says, there was a great difference in boats, of course. For a long time I was on a boat that was so slow we used to forget what year it was we left port in. Mark Twain. So not saying my boat is slow, it's a 20,000 pound boat that has 6.2 liter Mercruiser engines pushing it. Fuel efficiency 1 mile per gallon at 10 knots. Go up to 28 knots, you're burning 50 miles per gallon. I mean, you're burning 50 gallons per hour. So if you want 0.5 miles per gallon going really fast and you want a big boat, buy my boat. After 40 feet, you typically want to buy a boat with diesel engines because it's more fuel efficient and whatnot. So tomorrow I'm doing a couple different videos specifically on my bilge blower is coming. I'm going to replace that. I'm going to do separate videos for each item I'm replacing tomorrow. So bilge blower, the fuel line for the generator, and I might even get into the engines tomorrow and replace the fuel pumps and throttle positioning sensor. I don't know, but if you had this problem and you solved it with a Mercruiser 6.2 liter engine, definitely comment below and say, hey, look at this first. So I know I'm going to solve the problem in the week because Captain Tony, that's what Captain Tony does. Captain Tony fixes problems, solves problems, forget about it. But we have a lot of fun on the boat. Even though I'm selling it, we use it all the time. I'm not afraid to use it and break it, because that's what happens with boats. You have to fix a lot of things. So if I was really serious about just selling it and not caring, I would not be using it at all and saying I don't want anything to break until I sell it and go get my next boat. No, I use it. I know things are going to, small items are going to come, but the engines are great. It's just that small one problem, and that, like anything, like boating, you're always going to have a problem boating. There's always going to be an issue when you're out there boating. And just try to diagnose things the best you can. Go in the forums, look for help. So please comment below, like and subscribe to the video, and hit the notification bell. So I just wanted to give you a quick boat update on what was going on, and there's going to be a lot more videos this week to come. So ciao for now. Stay tuned and forget about it. Come out with Captain Tony in St. Augustine. Ciao.